What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American, here today to react and learn about things that foreigners should never do in Norway. Today, I want to take a look at this Reddit discussion where someone asked, what's something foreigners should never do in Norway? And a whole bunch of Norwegians have responded to this question, and I want to take a look at some of the answers. I think, especially for us Americans, we have no idea how to behave in other countries. Most Americans never even research the culture of the country that they're going to visit. Norway, I'm sure in Norway that us Americans would act in the worst possible ways. Like, we would have no idea what Norwegian customs or culture would be like. So this should probably be like mandatory reading for Americans in particular. So I'm very interested to see what some of the answers are here. Starting with, wear shoes indoor in a private home. Oh, this is what you should not do in Norway. Do not wear shoes indoors in a private home. This is a very good one because here in the United States, it's kind of random whether you take your shoes off or not in somebody's house. It's kind of like house rules. Whatever the owner of the house wants you to do, there's no standard exactly. Personally, I think you should just, by default, take your shoes off when you're going into someone's house, but it does seem to be a bit random here in America. So there's quite a few Americans out there who would not immediately know that they should take their shoes off when inside of a Norwegian home. It sounds like that is always what you should do, right? That applies anywhere, to be honest. Dirty people. Anywhere? Like, in Norway, you don't have to take your shoes off inside of like a grocery store or just like a company or a building or when you're out in public, right? This is if you go into somebody in Norway's home. You take off your shoes every time. Okay, that's good to know. Moving on. Do not litter in nature. Yeah. Sadly, even Norwegians do this from time to time. Yeah. This is another big one. I had a feeling that this was going to be a list of things that Americans are very guilty of, because I think American culture is very different to Norwegian culture. Um, do not litter in nature. I totally agree with that. I totally see what you're saying. I try not to litter in nature, but sadly, in the United States, it's we have a culture where it's not that uncommon to see trash on the ground. Now, I'm happy to say that there's not a lot of trash on the ground. People are typically pretty good about this. In most parts of America, it can get pretty dirty and disgusting in some of our big cities where there's a lot of people. But Americans do an okay job at this. You still find bottles and bags, trash in nature in America. I think Norwegians have a whole different level of respect for nature. If you're going out in Norway and you're going for a hike or whatever you're going to do out in nature, I think Norwegians have a lot more respect and care a lot more about not littering. But this person says Norwegians do it from time to time. Nobody's perfect, but I think this is a lot more important in Norway. In America, we almost kind of expect it. Like, okay, there's some trash in the forest. It's not that surprising. But that's a good one. That is definitely one that Americans need to hear. That would just be that also, if you think about it, be incredibly rude if you are traveling to another country that's not your own, like Norway, and you put trash on the ground. How incredibly rude. How insensitive to the culture. Like, that would be horrible as well, just thinking about it. For that reason, too. Okay, what are some other things that visitors should not do in Norway? Do not chat loudly on the phone. This is just going to be a bunch of stuff that Americans are guilty of. Do not chat loudly on the phone in public transport during morning commute. Oh man. Oh man. Americans do not care if they are talking loudly. Americans don't care if they're on the phone, on speakerphone. Americans will play music out loud. None of it surprises me. Again, especially when you get in big cities. People are a little more normal in small towns in America. People are a little more normal, a little more respectable. But yeah, don't chat loudly on the phone, on public transport. Do not try to sit next to someone when there are other free seats available. See, I agree with this. I love that this is part of Norwegian culture. I think this is how it should be here in America as well. If there's an open seat, sit there. Don't sit next to me, please. But it's crazy. I don't know what it is, but time and time again, whether I'm in like a movie theater or a bus or whatever, people will just sit next to you in America. Americans don't care. First, like, I feel like I'm a little unique in that I don't like when people sit next to me if I don't know them. It makes me uncomfortable. So maybe I'm a little more Norwegian in that sense. But most Americans just most Americans just don't care. Like they will absolutely sit next to you on the bus, and it's considered normal. It's not considered rude here. So that's a big one. That's a good example of something that Americans need to learn these things about Norway before coming to Norway. Because there's a whole bunch of social norms and social customs that are completely opposite. It seems like the opposite of what we do here in America. It's amazing. Uh, Things foreigners should not do in Norway is pay for water. What does that mean? Don't pay for water? Is water free in Norway? I don't understand. Third world here, please elaborate. Yeah, I don't get it. The tap water is drinkable and better than a lot of the bottled water. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. A lot of Americans, myself included, I buy water from the grocery store. Because tap water in America, it's pretty good, but it's not like considered the best. But in all reality, it's not bad compared to a lot of places in the world. American tap water it's fine, but it's not as good as bottled water here in America. But apparently in Norway, the tap water is really, really good. You can just drink the tap water. You can just fill up your water bottle with tap water. Wow, that's what they mean. That's what they mean by don't pay for water. Use tap water. Wow, that is a huge difference. Like, as an American, if I was in Norway, I would buy a water bottle from a store. I would never think to drink the tap water. It'd just be like a habit for me. That's a really good tip. That's a very, very good tip. So Norway must do a better job at cleaning its water supply or something. And there are some parts of the United States where water is actually like bad. Like it's actually bad for you too. So anyway, I've never even thought about that. Wow. All right, let's keep going. Things foreigners should never do in Norway. You should never poop in bus stops. What? Huh? What? What does this mean? Don't poop at the bus stop? Yeah. Like on the ground? Or I don't understand. I don't understand what we're talking about. Pooping in gardens or on hiking paths is also unpopular. Try to use toilets? Don't poop at the bus stop? Of yeah, unless I'm so confused. Are there countries where people poop on the ground at the bus stop? Can I get some more clarification? Pooping in bus stops is insane. What? Am I misunderstanding something? Does the bus stop have a bathroom? Does the bus stop have a toilet? Is it bad to use the bus stop bathroom? Or are we talking about literally going to the bathroom on the bus stop? Which doesn't make sense to me. On the floor? I don't get it. I don't get it. Uh I don't know. Maybe someone can clear this up for me. Do not poop in bus stops. Like on the ground or in a bathroom? I don't know. I don't know. If there was a bathroom at the bus stop, I would use it. Is that strange? Pooping in gardens or hiking paths is unpopular. Yeah, in America, people do not usually poop on the ground. Even out in nature. That's considered very, very strange. Yeah. I think America is kind of similar to Norway. Don't poop on stuff. Yeah, go find a toilet. Yes. I feel like I am not understanding that one correctly. That was very random to me. Okay. What else should you not do in Norway? Don't commit crime. Yes. Yes, I mean, especially Norway. Because Norway, even compared to a lot of countries around the world, Norway has a very, very low crime rate, which is really awesome. I love that about Norway. Um, Especially compared to America. Like in America, crime is so normal. You hear about crime every day in America. It'd be impossible to keep up with it. Now, America is a lot bigger, there's a lot more people, but even still, even adjusted for population, I think Norway has amazing low crime. Like the Norwegian culture just has low crime. It's really quite magical in a way. But yeah, if you're visiting another country, you shouldn't commit crime, that's for sure. Or else you're gonna like get arrested and not be able to go home. Like for many reasons, you should not commit crime. It's also just bad. What is some more? Please don't tip. Don't tip? You don't tip in Norway? Wait, what? Like at a restaurant. At a restaurant or when you're getting your hair cut or when you're using an Uber or usually when you're eating out at a restaurant, you tip in America is very normal. As a matter of fact, in America, you have to tip or else you're very you're going to be really frowned upon. If you don't leave a tip, that is a big no-no in America. You always leave a tip or else they are going to spit in your food or something. Like that is just unheard of. So it's very strange for me to picture a culture that doesn't tip. Does Norway not have tipping? Is that true? Please don't tip. Is that true? Also, behave nicely, please. this this person like knows that Americans are gonna watch or Americans are gonna read this, and this person's like, please just behave nicely, please. If you're coming to Norway, please just behave. It's like they knew that I was gonna read this. With Norwegian prices, there's no way I'm ever tipping. Yeah, livable wages is included in the price. Wow. Wow. There's no tipping in Norway. Is that right? Wow. I would actually love if that's how the culture was here in America. Actually, most Americans, we do not enjoy tipping. But we have to, because it's normal and it's expected. And if the waiter did a good job, you want to reward them because they don't make a lot of money, they depend on your tipping. I don't like the whole system of tipping. A lot of Americans don't like it, but it is very normal. We don't even think about it that much anymore. When you're out eating, it's just like automatic. You leave a tip, you don't even think about it. I would love for the restaurant to just pay the waiter more money. Just pay them a normal, livable wage. Yeah, I agree with this. So that the rest of us don't have to tip. You can even increase the cost of the food. Like a tiny bit, a little tiny bit, if you have to. Because, yeah, in America, you got to tip like 15 or 20% of the whole bill, which really adds up a lot, especially if you're out with your family or a lot of people. The tip can be gigantic. It gets a little crazy. Yeah, 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 I like this. I don't tip. Well, what happens when someone tips? Is it seen as disrespectful or just ignorant? Okay, so if an American came to Norway and an American left a tip, they didn't know that there's no tipping. What would the Norwegian think? Would the Norwegian accept the tip, or would the Norwegian be insulted? Um, You'll mess up the Scandinavian workplace if you invite Whoa! If you invite American culture, where it's up to the customer to make sure the waitress survives. Yeah, it's sort of true. The only thing that happens is the waiter gets very happy. It's not expected at all. Yeah, wouldn't the Norwegian waiter be happy if an American left a tip? That's just like extra free money, right? It's supposed to be a compliment, really. It's almost a way of saying you did a good job. And if you're a waiter in America and if you do a very very good job, you're polite, you get the food very quickly, you're attentive to the table, refilling the drinks and asking if everybody's doing okay and getting the bill quickly when it's needed. Usually you'll get a better tip, a bigger, better tip. Some waiters earn so much money in America because they're very, very good waiter. Americans really do, we really do judge the waiter a little bit, as strange as that sounds, and give good waiters more of a tip. So yeah. All right, let's keep going here. That was just a fascinating one to me because that's such a big difference between American and Norwegian culture is the tipping. That's a really really important one. Most Americans would have no idea that you're not expected to tip. I bet there's Norwegian waiters out there who have gotten tips from Americans that didn't know. Huh. Wow. Okay, what else? Don't drink alcohol in public. Ah, this is the same in America. You can drink alcohol at a restaurant, but you're not supposed to walk around drinking alcohol. That's actually illegal a lot of the time. I made this mistake with my boyfriend when we were there last summer. We are from Eastern Europe. Okay, so in Europe, I think you can drink outdoors a little more and it's okay. So Norway and America are very similar in that you don't drink alcohol in public. That's the same, I think. Please don't drive very slowly while taking in the view from a massive RV that is impossible to pass on windy roads. this, this sounds like a very specific example that happened to a Norwegian. This happened to a Norwegian for sure, and they're talking about it. So, yeah, Americans, when we visit Norway, Norway is beautiful. I've seen videos about it. Norway is crazy. It's way more beautiful than America. If I were driving around Norway, I would be tempted to look out the window and admire the beautiful sights, but I might not realize that I'm really inconveniencing the people behind me, especially if you can't pass me. Yeah, that sounds like a very, very American thing to do. Americans were also a bit more inconsiderate. Like, a lot of Americans are a bit selfish or don't notice how we are affecting others. I've noticed that about Americans. It's very normal, for some reason, that we don't seem to notice how we're affecting other people, and I think that comes across as very, very rude to other cultures and other countries like Norway. So that, yeah, I could see that absolutely happening. But there you have it. I think that's a good place to stop. This was really, really interesting, really eye-opening for me. I'm actually really glad I took some time to learn about this, because I think this is stuff that all Americans need to understand. Especially if you're ever going to travel to Norway, you need to understand how not to offend the culture that you're going to visit. You need to go out of your way, you need to do the work and learn how to acclimate to a different culture. So I think this is why this was so fun for me to kind of learn about how different our behaviors and our expectations are in Norway versus here in America. So this was quite fun for me. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on any of these, or your own personal opinion on things that foreigners should not do in Norway. That'd be very fun to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Norway and Norwegian culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.